Today I'm in Long Beach, California at a beach house owned by Mark Lack, a best-selling author, business strategist, and sales expert who hosts the TV show Business Rockstars, where he interviews some of the world's most successful entrepreneurs and billionaires to learn the secrets to their success. I had the privilege of getting to see Mark speak at one of the best conferences I've ever been to called Thrive. And I liked his talk so much and got so much value out of it that I actually hunted him down backstage to find him and ask him if I could hire him as my coach. I did, and I gotta tell you, it was worth every minute and every penny. And today, he's gonna share some awesome strategies with you.
If you own a gym or you need a gym, this is your guy.
My name's Mike, and I help fitness studios that are ready to take action, work hard, and grow their studios. In this very saturated industry, there's tons of competition, but the opportunities are incredible. We'll cover the most common challenges in the fitness world and invite guests in the show that have learned to overcome them and share their strategies with you. This is the GSD Show. What's up, Mark?
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
Fantastic.
All right, so we're here in your house. You've actually invited me down here, and we're here in Long Beach. It's amazing. And the reason I'm here is because I spent the entire day with you. I've hired you to be a coach for me in some things that you just do extremely well. And the people that are watching already know, the people that are listening already know because we just brought it up about 50 seconds ago. But I wanted to actually do a segment on the GSD show because I feel like what you talk about, what you taught me today, it's relevant no matter what business you're in, especially small business, whether it's fitness studios, gyms, whatever. And so I wanted to talk with you a little bit about that, and really let's start with the stuff that most small businesses are doing incorrectly, or where they're allocated their time inefficiently, and then we'll talk about strategies to improve that. Is that cool?
Yeah, we got some skateboarders tearing it up down there.
Yeah, it's okay. I think we're good.
This is real, guys.
It's real.
So what most small businesses are usually doing wrong is when it comes to allocating their time, is they're not focused on the highest income and impact activities. I made this mistake. I feel like you've probably made the mistake as well. Yeah. All of us do. If you get in business and you don't know exactly what to do because you're learning, you think that you're the one, especially if you don't have the time, you don't have the energy, you don't have the money to be somehow creating a team around you. You're the one wearing all the hats. You're the one doing all of the jobs. And the problem with that, though, is it's very difficult to grow your business as fast as you're capable of, as fast as you can, and should be, if you're not surrounding yourself with a team of people that you get to outsource and delegate your weaknesses to, and that you get to outsource and delegate your lowest income, low impact, trivial activities, responding to emails, making phone calls, signing up people, converting people, doing marketing, doing social media. There's so many different things. Now, maybe some of those are your strengths.
Right.
But that's the key right there. You should only be doing what your strengths are. For me, it's being on stages, it's being on interviews, it's, basically anything that has to do with me communicating with people. Like right now, this is an opportunity for me to do an interview where I'm the person who's the influencer and the sales individual and the marketing person. That's my strength. Anything else I should not be doing. And if I can't afford to hire people, there's a lot of different ways that you can do it. You can defer payment, you can barter, you can trade, you can do sweat equity, you can hire interns, and based on what you know, you can teach people in exchange for their skill sets. You can facilitate value between somebody who owes you a favor in business, and then that favor can be given to this individual instead. There's literally an infinite amount of ways that you can somehow find a way for you to stay on your vertical of your highest income and impact activity based on what your unique strengths are, and find a way to have everything else outsourced and delegated. Now again, that's something that happens as your business grows. In the beginning, you're not going to be able to just, especially since you don't even know how to do it and how to find the people, but it's something that you need to do and most small businesses aren't doing.
Now, it comes down to being self-aware, because a lot of people think their greatest strength is in X or Y or Z, maybe because it's what they enjoy doing the most, or maybe it's because what they trust other people to do the least. So how do you, and by the way, the people that are listening or watching, they are very confident that they are self-aware. And we know very well that most people aren't too self-aware. So how are some ways that a person can really identify where they really should be spending their time as far as, am I really great at sales? Because most people aren't even measuring this stuff.
Yeah, so you know where you should be spending your time based on what moves the needle for your business. Meaning, if you did something that you think is the highest income and impact activity, but you're not seeing an impact, which could be anything. It could be more views, more leads being generated, more phone calls coming in, more emails and requests coming in, PR, brand awareness, some form of impact. Your clients are performing better. Whatever your highest impact activity is, if after a week or a month, your income's also not going up, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
And so usually when the two go hand in hand, it's because your impact is usually in proportion to the value you're adding, which is why it's impact. And then based on your value adding ability is usually in proportion to your earning ability. And so when you're not doing the highest impact, meaning value adding activities that you're capable of, you're not going to be earning the money that you're capable of. And I think a lot of small businesses are bottlenecked for many reasons, but one of the biggest ones is the leader of the ship is usually the reason why it's not growing. And they think it's the resources, the money. I don't have enough money to hire the people. Wrong. You're not resourceful enough. I'll give you a short example of an article I just read where there was Navy SEALs doing training, and they all run out on the beach and they all jump in boats and they have to go out and race and come back around and do some other crazy stuff as well. Now, the boat that kept winning and the boat that kept coming in last traded the leaders of the boats. Now, what ended up happening was the boat that came in last place now came in first, and the boats that came in first now came in last. It had nothing to do with the other 6 guys on the boat. It had everything to do with who the leader was. And I think it's the same thing in business.
So let's say we're talking about a person that owns a gym, right? Fitness studio, let's say it's Pilates and yoga, that's what they do.
Yeah.
And they're plateauing. They can't seem to get more than 200 members, which is just barely breaking even with their costs. And they're miserable now because they feel like they just can't move the needle, like you were saying.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you take that same fitness studio. Now they may say it's because of location. They may say it's because it's saturated. There's too many people opening up shops around them.
They always have.
They may say it's because the people in their location don't have the money or don't see the value in paying, or people are hard to find, right? Or
we've tried marketing and Facebook. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work, right? Overhead kills us.
Yeah.
So they have all those things. So what you're saying is, you could take somebody that understands business very well, like yourself, or like Marcus Lemonis from The Profit, or you take somebody like Mark Cuban or Gary Vaynerchuk. You're saying you can take that same person and you can put him in that fitness studio, the same location, with the same people in the same area, and that person's going to be able to double, triple, or 10x the business. Is that what you're saying?
At the very least. Most likely, especially if it's contextually congruent, meaning that you're taking somebody who has a $10 million a year fitness studio business and you're putting that CEO and founder and leader into a company that's doing $500,000 or $1 million a year. Odds are in 3 years, 2 years, 1 year, how's that business going to be doing?
So you're saying
probably a lot better.
So a guy like Marcus Lemonis is going to go in there and just continue to plateau the same way, just not be able to. Is that what you're saying? He's just not.
No, I'm saying that he would go into the business and he would turn
blow
it around.
it up, right?
Regardless of the financial capital, most likely, because he'd find a way. Most super successful people try to do everything without putting their own money in. Right. So right off the bat, I can already hear people saying, but that's because he's got the money and the connections.
Right.
The connections, yes, but he earned those.
Right.
The money, he's going to try to not put his money in if he doesn't have to.
Right. You know, I use basketball analogies a lot. I don't know if you watch basketball or not, but you take LeBron James when he was on the Cavs. He left the Cavs, and the Cavs, who were in they were in the finals, right? They ended up tanking to the worst team in the league. Went to Miami, who was just barely making playoffs, and went to the finals 4 times, won 2 championships. Left Miami. They dropped down to barely making a playoff team, went to Cleveland, and they went to the finals 2 years in a row and won a championship.
Another example of it.
So, but everybody was saying they can't win because they don't have role players. They don't. It's the market, or this market doesn't want to spend the money. It's Cleveland, right?
Just like
Nobody
sports,
wants to.
same things in business.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but when you have the right leader, and the reason I bring this up is because I think the same thing comes down to self-awareness. I don't think a lot of people believe they're the problem. They really find a way to point outward, or they do want to see the problem because they know it's the most humble, accountable thing to say, but they don't actually act.
They don't know how to take action to make this. What's the solution?
Yeah, what's the first
I'll
step?
take the responsibility as a good leader should, but I still don't know what to do.
So let's say you're the guy that doesn't know what to do.
But I'm taking responsibility, because that's the first thing. If you're not taking responsibility, you have to accept.
You're accountable.
You have to accept that.
You know it's you. Yep, you know it's you. You're the issue. What are the first things you're going to do to be able to learn or to be able to improve the business?
First and foremost, 2 things. One is you have to become the person that you need to become to be able to get the results that you want. So it sounds so simple and it sounds kind of cliche, but it's simple. You have to become the person, your version of the Marcus Lemonis, the Mark Cuban, the Damon John, the Tony Robbins, the leader. You have to become your best self in the same way they have for their strengths. You have to become your best self.
How do you do that? How does somebody just say, you know what, I'm going to become LeBron James?
Well,
you have to
LeBron James is a little bit more difficult because there's physique and there's a lot of stuff there. But mindset. Business boils down to more about the mindset than it does the strategies and the tactics.
Okay.
Just like sports does as well. Who wants the ball? Who's willing to take the risks? Basically, to become your best self, you need to be working on all the areas of your life. And it's one of those things where it's like, oh, come on, you're going to tell me about health and relationships? Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if your health, your relationships is suffering, your business is never going to do as well. So work on every area of your life, all the 9 environments, your health, your mindset, condition your subconscious mind with the beliefs. John Asseroff, somebody we've both seen, admire, and respect, the guy I've invested a lot of money in, he teaches about how to recondition the subconscious mind.
Right.
And for me, that's been incredible because it starts to change how I think about the world, and that $1 million is not a lot of money. And so it's all these different things. You start to think differently, and then you'll behave and feel differently, and you'll get new results.
Yeah,
So
and
it's from learning and studying.
I got to see a speaker at Infusionsoft's conference once,
Yeah.
and I feel bad because I don't remember the speaker's name. But he was awesome. One of the things he talked about was a financial thermostat. And he basically said
John
that.
talks about that all the time.
Oh, he does. Okay, so yeah, basically just saying that, if you have, like, we have the doors wide open in your house, right now.
And the AC's on,
And
which
the
is
AC's
ridiculous.
on, right.
But at least they're staying cool.
Yeah, so if let's say it's colder out here than it is in there,
Yeah.
and the AC says I need it to be colder, the AC is going to kick in and work harder. But
Yeah.
if you have it set for heat or AC, whatever happens, the heat will kick in if it's the opposite. No matter what, it'll find a way to stay at 77 or whatever you set it at.
It's the same thing with your finances and your business.
Right.
If you think that, getting past $1 million is so difficult, you're going to find a way to always stay below it.
Broke people stay broke.
Broke people stay broke.
And rich people lose money and get
And it's
back.
because of their mindset.
Right.
As ridiculous as it sounds, think about this. Your mindset is the reason why you are not taking action.
Mm-hmm.
So if I gave 100 people in the fitness space with their gyms and their businesses the exact same blueprint you guys provide, right? If we give them all the same blueprint and said, here's exactly what you need to do to succeed, to get your business to $1 million, $2 million, $5 million a year, why would they all do different? They all have the exact same recipe.
Right.
We're all in the kitchen with the same recipe and ingredients. How are we all cooking a different meal?
Right.
The mindset.
Right.
We all have the same recipe and the ingredients. How are we all coming up with different results in business? The leader, the psychology of the leader. So back to my first point, you have to work on yourself. Now I could go into a whole thing about that, as you know. You need to start reading more books. You need to start reading more material that's going to better your relationships, your mindset, make you more confident, make you more articulate, make you a better individual in all areas. And specifically, what are your knowledge and skill sets? What do you need to be better at? Is it company culture? Is it hiring? Is it firing? Is it retaining? Is it sales and marketing? What do you need to get better at to grow your business, to become your best self? Now, the second thing, you got something?
Yeah, I was going to say, we were walking back from dinner, we were talking a lot about this, and I was telling you how the first few years of my business, I never read a business book. I never had a coach. I never had a mentor, and I stayed stagnant. I was broke, and I kept staying broke. I couldn't get over the same problems. I started thinking, like everybody else did, because of this, because of that, because of this. But it was because I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't even know about business books, right? So I've read a few of them. Me personally, now a few of them. I've read a lot of them now. But now looking back, of all the books that I've read, the one that I think was best for me in the very beginning, and fortunately it was like probably the third or fourth book I read, was E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Great
because
book.
I feel like it talks a lot about what you said, like really knowing where you should be spending your time working on the business versus in the business. If a business owner is just starting out, let's particularly say the fitness space, and he doesn't really even know what he doesn't know, right? He just got into this because he was the best trainer wherever he was, and his friends and family said, you got the gift of gab, you should go do this, you're great, and everyone knows you. So he goes, opens up his business, doesn't really know a ton. He thinks he does. They all think they do, right? I did.
I was successful at this, I'll be successful at this.
Right, it's easy, right? And then it's easy to blame something else. I did it too. So that being said, I liked E-Myth. What are some books that you think, if a guy's just starting out, doesn't even know where to start, what book he should kick it off with? What would you recommend your previous self to start reading?
So I'll say those, and then I'll tell you what the second thing was that I said. There's two things. Books I'd recommend, which is more about self-development, which is so important because 80% of success is psychology, 20% is the strategies and tactics. First book I'd recommend, and this isn't like based on the rank of the value, but Awaken the Giant Within, Tony Robbins.
Okay.
Then How to Get Everything You Can Out of All You've Got by Jay Abraham.
Okay.
Then honestly study everything of Tony's and everything of Jay's, because those two guys are incredible. Tony for the psychology as well as the business, and Jay for most innovative, crazy marketing to just disrupt and change your business in ways that you never thought possible.
And you've interviewed Tony Robbins, right? Or you're about to?
I'm interviewing Tony very soon on my show Business Rockstars, yeah.
And it's just not only him, but other people with great mindset. Damon John,
Mark Cuban's coming on.
Mark Cuban's. I mean, you're definitely connected to the right people, which is great. Okay, so go ahead. I interrupt you guys.
So, Awaken the Giant Within, Tony Robbins. How to Get Everything You Can Out of All You've Got, Jay Abraham. Persuasion, the new book by Robert Cialdini. His other best-selling book, which I recommend as well, Influence.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, all you're ever trying to do is influence. You're either influencing yourself and telling yourself rational lies about why you can't grow your business.
Right.
So learning how to influence yourself, to have the confidence and get in the state, which is the first thing. State influences decision, which influences action. And so learning how to change your state to be more confident, to take action, even if that's just to take action to start finding the resources, whether that's books or online videos or trainings that you provide or that I provide, so they can learn what they need to, because your knowledge and your skill sets are a reflection of who you're becoming, which improves your value-adding ability, which, as I said, is in proportion to your earning ability.
Okay.
These companies, these business owners are stuck at $250,000, $500,000, $1 million, or can't even get off the ground for 6 figures because of their value-adding ability, or they are not optimizing, leveraging, and maximizing the knowledge and skill sets they do have to be able to add the value.
Okay.
Meaning somebody is really talented, but they don't know how to deliver that value into the marketplace, which is why they're not earning the money. But again, my thing is, don't stop because you think you have the knowledge and skill sets to add the value. That's why they're stopped. That's why they're stopped and stuck at $500,000 or $1 million.
Sure.
Because guess what they stopped doing? Bettering themselves. Guess what they stopped doing? Innovating. Stopped learning how to do new marketing things. What's the newest form of marketing? What 15 ways have you started to test different things in your business? Downstairs in the library, we're mapping out all these different things you could do to test. That's why most people are stuck. They stopped running small, controlled, consistent tests in their business, and therefore something that used to work no longer works.
Now you were really lucky because your father was an entrepreneur when you first started, and so you had somebody that was telling you like, hey, you got to develop yourself, you know, and that's really cool. My father was a business owner, always has been, but he wasn't an entrepreneur. I don't think he's ever read a self-help book. I don't even think he knows what that means.
I have a friend that's 43 years old. He's worth like 200 million.
Right.
And he's like, I've never really read a book past a few pages.
Right.
And I'm like, you're a terrible example of how to become successful, because so many people out there hear that and are like, oh, I don't need to do it. And I'm like, nah, bro, you got lucky.
Yeah.
I'm like, you didn't get lucky, but like, that's not a model for success that's repeatable.
Yeah, it's not like everyone could copy what you did.
Yeah.
You know, my dad found an industry he was good in. He'd been there for 40 years, and he's been a solopreneur, and he's been for sure successful, but not at the rate that we're talking with what you can achieve.
Everybody's
with all
truly
this.
capable of earning $1 million a year. I truly believe that.
Right.
And in an area that they're passionate about.
So now, let's say you take people that are hearing this, and like I hired you for coaching, right? And I have many different coaches, and I coach people, and you coach
As I do
people,
as
and you
well.
have coaches, right? It's this ever-growing thing where Steph Curry can probably kill his shooting coach in a shooting competition, but he still has a coach, right?
Yeah.
And so, in this case, I particularly wanted to learn something specific that I have no idea how you do what you do, and I know it could help my business. So I found you from a conference. I didn't know where to find coaches or mentors. I got lucky. A guy came up to me and then offered it. But for people out there, they're like, I don't even know where to go. I don't know who to approach. I'm embarrassed. I don't want to get shot down. How do you start? Let's say you go back, you don't know anybody.
Okay.
How do you find your first mentor or coach?
When I got started?
Yeah. Well, you kind of understood it.
Yeah.
So how do you tell a guy that doesn't have, you know, an understanding because he grew up around your father? Or you know what I mean? Because I didn't either.
I think you've got to surround yourself in the environment that's going to condition you to have that type of a reality. Meaning, you've got to start watching the videos that are online for free. You've got to start reading the books. You've got to start attending the networking events, going to the conferences, whatever that means. And if you don't have one, because I was just at an event, speaking at an event, and somebody was like, all the things you're saying, I can't do. My friends, my family, my kids, no one's like this. I feel alone. And no one in my community. And I was like, then be the leader.
Right.
I was like, then simply find people. Everybody wants to live a better life. All we're ever trying to do is change how we feel. Mm-hmm. You want to make more money because you think it'll allow you to buy more things, which will make you feel more significant, which will make you want more money because you'll have more freedom. You want more money because you can send your kids to better college. All of that, I want more money because it's going to give me this. Okay, well, how's that going to make you feel? Mm-hmm. All we ever want to do is change how we feel. I don't want to eat McDonald's, I want to eat this because McDonald's will make me feel that way, this will make me feel that way.
Right.
Right?
You know, one of the conference I just went to where I found you, which is a couple weeks ago, right? We acted quick. We're here now. I'm back again, right?
Yeah.
But conference I went to is Thrive, and it was probably one of the best lineups I've ever seen as far as the speakers go. They were really, really solid, and you were one of the speakers. And that was one of the first things I did. I hunted you down, right? And I found you. And that's kind of what you're talking about, right? If
you got to go. You got to take action. You
go
gotta
there,
ask.
know who the speaker was, know what his strengths are. Can you repeat what he just did?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, if you don't even know where to get started or how to do it, but you know it could add value, hunt that guy down, find out where he is, and just talk with him. And then I paid you. It's a chunk of money that a lot of people will probably say, that's too much, I'm never going to do it. But for me, if I can put these things in motion, I've never hired a coach that wasn't at least 10x of whatever I spent, right? But you got to implement it too. And you can waste time.
And to point something out too is the money that you invested in me is shadowed by the money in the same day in proportion to what I invest in myself. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you're looking for a coach, it's finding somebody who's doing what you want at a much larger level. Like I've invested over $500,000 in coaches, books, events, seminars, masterminds, retreats, etc. Mm-hmm. And upwards of $25,000 for a day, 50 grand for masterminds. So I think that's the thing is you have to.
But it's easier to spend that money once the first time you spend it, it adds value. Then you spend a little more, and you spend a little more, and it's like, okay, you spend 1,000, it creates 10. You spend 5,000, it creates 50.
Most people will never spend that first 1,000 though, and here's why. It has nothing to do with the $1,000. It has to do with the fact that they think, consciously or unconsciously, deep within them, the investment in themselves is not worth it.
Why do you think that is?
Because most people are afraid that they're not good enough. Our deepest fear is that we're not good enough or that we're not worthy of love.
Do you think they're conscious about that? You think they know that? Or do you think that's subconscious?
Most people's deepest fear is rejection and fear. Because at our core, thousands and thousands and thousands of years of conditioning from way back in the day before social media and technology and all this stuff, all the thousands of years humans were alive, survival was the only thing we focused on. Animals don't think about thriving. It's
Right.
purely surviving.
Yeah,
That's
they're eating today and they're not really.
Purely surviving. And humans used to be the same way for thousands of years. Much, 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 much longer we were survival creatures than we were about thriving in social media and looking pretty and, getting likes on social media and having money and driving nice cars and nice clothes. That was never a reality except for in the last few hundred years. For thousands of years, it was only about survival. So our brains, which have evolved over all those years, have much, much, much more conditioning in our DNA for surviving than we do thriving. And that's why the average person is stuck in a comfortable or impoverished lifestyle and mindset and emotional state because they haven't learned how to condition themselves because of their past environments or new environments to condition themselves to think in a thriving mindset, a confident mindset. Anything is possible as long as I take action and believe it. And I don't give up, and when I fail, I learn, and I get back up, and I learn, and I fail, and I learn. You're always going to fail more than you're going to succeed. That's life. Right. Especially the bigger goals you reach for, the more you're going to fail. You can't experience the wonders of life and the massive success of business and all the things that life has to offer to you if you're not willing to fail. Like a muscle grows when it first gets to exhaustion and hurts.
Right.
And so when you sit on the couch and you're comfortable, you're just surviving, you're actually dying.
Right.
But when you go out and you hurt yourself to lift weights and exhaust your body, meaning you're failing, you're exhausting your body to just
challenging it.
You're challenging it, it grows. And in our deepest pain and in our deepest adversity is when we have the most growth, or when we can have the most growth. You look at people like Oprah Winfrey, who was physically, verbally, and sexually assaulted and abused as a child and a teenager. And if I didn't already say Oprah and I just said those things, and I said, what does the next 5 to 10, 20 years of her life look like? You'd say not good,
Right.
not bright. Yet it turned into Oprah Winfrey only because her victim mindset that happened, that limited her for many years, as she talks about in her book and her story, that limited her, she reframed the meaning of the same story that limited and crippled her as a victim. She gave it a new meaning, which was, I've gone through more pain and adversity than almost anyone I'll ever encounter, meaning I am stronger because I survived it than anyone I'll ever encounter. Now I have the confidence that I can push through anything, because if I can survive that and be confident and move forward and create a great life, I can do anything.
Right.
No daily thing is going to interrupt me. No business challenge is going to interrupt me. I overcame that shit.
Right.
And so in our deepest pain and adversity, we can find the gift of our greatest strength and lessons in life. Cole Hatter, the guy from Thrive, same thing, lost his best friend.
Big time stuff.
Lost his best friends and went through the depression of why them, why not me, popped pills, drank alcohol, and the meaning he gave it was limiting, in which that meaning he gave that adversity and pain put him in a downward spiral of drugs and alcohol. And then it wasn't until he reframed the same thing, gave it a new meaning, that he ended up becoming a self-made millionaire and now gives back hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, puts on an incredible event, and is changing the world, has his event Thrive, Make Money Matter. So my lesson here is that in our biggest pain and struggles and adversity, we can find the gift of our greatest strength in our lessons. But the problem is that our minds have been conditioned for surviving, that when something bad happens to us, we go, oh my God, I'm never taking a risk again.
Right.
I'm never taking a risk again.
Right.
And unfortunately, most people take a risk and fail, or they've been taught for so long from the school system and from parents, failing in school is good or bad?
Right, bad.
It's bad. So the problem is after 18 years of school, and then maybe if we go to college another 4 or 6,
Right.
20 freaking years, our environment has conditioned us to think and feel and behave, our model of the world, that failing is what? Bad. And then when we get into business and we get into the real world where Thomas Edison, I haven't failed 10,000 times, I found 10,000 ways that didn't work. Steve Jobs, Michael Jordan, I missed 10,000 shots, 300 playoffs, 50 game-winning shots,
Right.
And that's why I'm the best in the world.
Right.
The most successful people tell you that their biggest pain, their biggest struggle, their biggest failures is the reason why they're the strongest people in the world, they're the most successful people in the world. But the average person you meet will tell you that the lack of resources, their pain, their parents, their conditioning, their circumstances, their environments, their lack of money, their lack of education is why they can't be successful, yet all the successful people say that's why they are.
And the thing is, usually what you have to lose is not that bad. In a lot of cases,
You're not losing anything. That's the problem. Loss is an illusion.
It is an illusion. One of the things I coach my son in 11 seasons of basketball. It's really one of the coolest things to do. And one of the things I do in the beginning of every season, if there's a new kid on, which usually there's always a few new kids on, and I talk about, like hiking a mountain. I say, this is the biggest mountain in the world. You know, in the beginning, you got 100 people that want to hike this mountain. They start going up, and after the first day, you know, everyone fails. Nobody can even get this high.
Yeah.
They come down, 80 of them decide they're never going to do it again. That was just way too hard. Nobody's going to be able to do it. 20 show up the next day.
Yeah.
They go up. They come back down because they can't. They got a little higher, but tomorrow 15 won't show up. Now 5 are left. 5 go up a little higher. Then the next day it's 2 come, and the next day it's 1, and then the next day you got this guy. When you look at him, you know, you go, okay, well, this guy, he's failed 7 times. This guy's only failed once, so who's actually the winner, right? Well, this guy, because even though this guy only failed once, he hasn't won anything. This guy's failed 7 times, but he actually won something.
There's an old saying, the man at the top of the mountain didn't fall there. And it's the same thing in business.
That's cool.
Right? But at the end of the day, that analogy is so perfect because you look at the people that their businesses aren't as successful as they can be, and then you ask them, what have you tried? And they usually say everything. Mm-hmm. You haven't tried anything.
No. That's
and you ask them tell me 5 things you've tried, and they can't tell you more than usually 2.
Right.
And when you really dig deep, they think it's their lack of resources, they think it's all these things, but in reality, it's their fear of pushing to the next level, finding a way to get to the next level. It's easier to have a job and live a comfortable 9-to-5 lifestyle and cash a check if that's the reality that you settle for. Mm-hmm. And I think these people that are struggling in business to take their business to the next level is because at some level, they're afraid that if they put in the work and they figure out how to get to the next level, what if they plateau again? What if they get it's going to be a lot more painful to get a $10 million business and lose it all than to just kind of stop at my $500,000 or keep this. Right.
You know, one of the things too I noticed that I thought that was pretty interesting. I was actually a below average student in high school and in grade school, and it was one of those things where I didn't know why I was learning things. Everybody said because you have to, because I said so.
Well, I was the worst. I'd question my teachers all the time about
I just didn't make sense, you know, like calculus, when would I use this? Dad, do you even know how to? My dad can't even help me with my homework, so clearly it's not applicable, right? And my mom can't answer half the questions of what I'm learning. The fire sirens, huh? We're in Long Beach.
Yeah, they're here, and we got the lights and everything, and the sun setting. So,
but
people love it when it's real, though.
Yeah, I just couldn't have anybody explain to me all the things I was learning, how they use it. And so I never found any appreciation in learning it. Then later on, I started a business, and I couldn't, I remember I had to learn things like SEO, and I had no idea how to get started. It took me forever. I couldn't grasp concepts. Everything looked like a different language to me. And then I kept working at it because I didn't have a choice. It was one of those things where the economy was bad. I couldn't get a job. And so I started learning it. And what I found really interesting was I didn't just get better at understanding SEO. I got better at learning. Like I learned how to learn faster. And so now when it was time to learn like Google AdWords or Facebook ads or leadership or any of those things that typically are very complex and most people just don't understand right off the bat, I felt like I was going on and on learning faster. Like the day today that we had, 3 years ago, I wouldn't comprehend half the shit you said. There's no way. I would be like, wait, what am I doing? 20,000, why? I just wouldn't get it. I wouldn't be there. I couldn't learn at the speed that we learned today. You could have gone twice the speed if you wanted to, and I could have been there with you, right? And so that's one of the things that I think it's important for people to know, that when you first start that first book, it's dreadful. Nobody wants, especially if you haven't been a reader. You know, it sucks. You may feel like you start reading pages, and then you realize, shit, I haven't paid attention to the last 2 pages. I gotta go back.
Does it work?
Right.
You don't know if it works because you're just starting.
Right.
That's, I think, one of the biggest things is, I'm reading this book and it's so boring, and I haven't taken action on any of it yet, or worse, I've read lots of books and I've taken action on them, I haven't seen results. That's what's even worse.
Right.
So you go through these stages, you're reading your first few books and you're like, this is kind of boring, maybe the writer's not very good, or
not applicable to my business.
Maybe it's not applicable to my business, maybe this, I'm just not a big reader, so I should transfer over to audiobooks. Again, there's no excuse, the content's out there in whatever form you want. But again, the worst thing is you get to the next level, you're like, dude, I've read all the books, I've gone to the events, it doesn't work. I've tried it all. And it's like,
so what do you do then?
Well, what you do when that happens is you have to identify, what have you really done to take action? And have you done the right thing at the right time in the right order? Because if you have a recipe, but you don't do the right thing at the right time in the right order, you have the recipe, but it doesn't matter if you're not doing the right thing at the right time in that order. Think about it. If you followed a recipe, but you started to mix up the order of the recipe, what do you have?
Totally different meal.
You pull something out of the oven, it's shit. It's not a pie, it's not a nice dinner.
Right.
So you can have the recipe, you could have spent your time to find the recipe, you can have the ingredients, but if you're not doing the right thing at the right time in the right order, you're gonna get mush.
And over time, you never have to look at the recipe book for that one recipe again. Now you understand it well enough to be able to do it blindfold, and you can easily explain to somebody how to do it because you built a habit, you understand how to do it. Your hands just go, right? And I think that's the same thing. Right now, what I hired you for today, I have no habits built around those things, right? And I know I'm going to, but that only starts if I bring a coach on or bring a mentor or really take time to educate myself. And I could have done through books, but this is just so much faster.
You collapse it like boom.
Yeah, coaching and mentors to me have been the most impactful thing. For sure, hands down. Conferences are great, but a lot of people go to conferences and leave and they don't do anything because there's no accountability. And like I know I'm going to have to meet with you again in a month, and I'm going to be a chump if you say, "What have you done?" And I say, "Well, I haven't done it yet because X." Right? Like I'll feel like an absolute.
I'm gonna hold
chump.
You accountable, so you're gonna do it.
I'm gonna, yeah, and I'll
the
be
team
embarrassed.
is too.
The team is too, right? So, yeah. Other than that, man, I just want to say thank you. You've provided a lot of really great stuff, and if you have a great book out too that actually is hitting a lot of home runs. So what's the name of your book? Because I want people to read your book too.
Shorten the Gap. You can get a copy of it on Amazon. You can get it on my company website, shortenthegap.com, which is the only place currently that we sell hard copies.
What would you say the main theme of the book is?
So we were talking about this on the way back from lunch. For me, I wrote the book specifically for two people. One, somebody like ourselves who has invested a lot of time, energy, and money in learning the things that attribute to our happiness, health, wealth, and success and fulfillment in life and in business. But also, and more importantly, for the other young people out there that I'm really passionate about working with, teaching, and inspiring. And that's a buffet platter. Imagine a buffet of a lot of different little samples. Maybe you don't know what you like. Maybe you've never been in a buffet before. Maybe you've only been eating one type of thing because you've been conditioned for that. Well, personal development, business development, kids in school, I know because I recently came out of the system, they're not learning the things that ultimately will allow you to become your best self, have the happiest, healthiest, wealthiest life possible, and really live a fulfilling life that you can be proud of. I believe that there's so much out there these kids need to be learning, myself included. I've just invested a lot of time and money
You say
learning
kid,
it.
you're like 26.
I hang out with a lot of 50-year-olds, so I'm always the kid. And so there's a lot of young people out there that they've never learned anything really outside of their own experiences, which are usually not good because the environments they've been in don't give them a good reference of what an experience of knowledge and wisdom is, and what to take action on. And B, the school system, which is terrible, I believe. We got half of the kids that graduate are unemployed or underemployed, and they're baristas and working at jobs that have nothing to do with the degree they just spent. 85% of college grads move back in with their parents. Now, if that was a business, you'd never invest in it. But yet the school system is so flawed, parents don't know what else to do for their kids. And as a parent, you don't want to fail. You want to do whatever you can. So ultimately, I'm going on a tangent, but you as a parent and as a kid, you don't know what else to do.
Right.
So you go to the school system. Now, I wrote a book after about investing $150,000 to $200,000 in myself and working with some of the smartest people on the planet. And I created a buffet platter of the things that I studied, learned, tested, applied, and benefited from, and have helped thousands do in their own lives, that I've seen and know that if you read it and you take action on it and apply it diligently in your life, you'll have a happier, healthier, wealthier life. So the book is a buffet platter. Again, Shorten the Gap. You can get it on Amazon.
That's awesome, man. Well, I think it's great because there's a lot of people out there, next generation up, that will think that the millennial generation, your generation, has a feeling of entitlement. But you did tell me at lunch when you were in high school, you did have that, right?
I did.
And you found
a lot of millennials do.
Right. So the proof is with the right mindset shift and with the right leadership and circle of friends and influences, you can totally become, it doesn't matter what age you are, you're more successful than the majority of people on the planet, right? Which is great. So I think it's great what you've done, and I had a great time today. I learned a ton. I can't wait for day 2.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, man. We'll do
a recap.
Again.
We'll do it a little bit earlier so we got some better lighting. But
yeah, this is good. Awesome, man. Thanks.
Thanks so much for joining us today. If you liked this episode, then subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Stitcher and to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode. You can get all the links by going to thegsdshow.com. Thanks, and see you next time.